All right. Hello, everyone. We are in the middle of our novel study on the Scarlet Letter. Actually, we're just beginning it. But before we dive any deeper, I want to talk about the difference between explicit and inferential. Okay. So, two big words: explicit, inferential. Okay. Explicit means that it just means that the information is right in front of you. So, for example, if I were to say, my phone is black, and then I was to ask you the question, what color is my phone? Well, I just told you, my phone's black. So the answer would be, my phone is black. Okay? But if I were to ask you the question, what do you use a phone for? Well, I didn't give you the information. So you would have to think about it, right? I mean, obviously, this is a pretty basic question. You know that phones are used to call people, to text people. Nowadays, they're used to play games. And basically, people's phones have become their lives. But the point is I didn't give you that information. That was just information from knowledge that you already had that you were able to use to answer that question. So I want to do just a quick activity here using the Scarlet Letter. I'm going to make me much smaller and get me out of the way here. Okay, so if I look on here, and let's read the first page. It says, it was the summer of 1642. An angry crowd gathered. They stood in front of a prison in Boston. Now, if I were to ask you the question, where did this story take place? Or at least in this chapter, where did this chapter take place? Well, this is an example of an explicit question because we have the information right in front of us. So right here, they stood in front of a prison in Boston. I could even ask you, what time of year was it? If I look right here, it was the summer of 1642. So if I were to ask you, what year did it take place? Well, right here it tells us 1642. So when and where did this story take place? In Boston. I'm going to circle this. In Boston. In the summer of 1642. We have all of that information right in front of us. Now, however, if I were to go over to and ask you an inferential question, if I were to ask you the question, which sentence from page 6, so here's page 6, which sentence from page 6 tells us the woman's feelings about Hester? Sorry, I couldn't tell if that was a M or an R next to each other. About Hester Prynne, I think is the last name. Forgive me if I'm wrong here, okay? So let's read this. Keeping that in mind, which sentence from page 6 tells the women's feelings about Hester Prynne? It says, a scandal has come to his church. The judges have been too kind, said another woman. We shouldn't have been so easy on her. They should have branded her with a hot iron. She can cover up the letter. No one will know. Marks and brands aren't enough. She's brought us shame. This woman should die, another woman said. Her voice is angry. Have mercy. Your words are harsh, said a man. The prison door is opening. Here she comes now. A court official led the woman out of prison. So, the question is, what sentence tells us how the women feel about Hester Prynne? Well, it doesn't say anywhere the women felt angry or the women felt happy or the women felt mad. So we have to use information that we already have to inference, or in other words, use our best guess, use the knowledge that we have to answer this question. So let's see. The judges have been too kind, said another woman. We shouldn't have been so easy on her. They should have branded her with a hot iron. So let's think about this. Branding means that it's reading it. Branding means that you take something really hot and you push it into somebody's skin so that it leaves a mark on there. So we could probably infer from that they did not like her. But let's keep going. Marks and brands aren't enough. She's brought us shame. This woman should die, another woman said. Her voice was angry. So I think that this right here is a pretty good example. So how do the women feel? Well, let's look at this. This woman should die. Hearing that, that's kind of like shocking. Like, whoa, okay, you must really not like this person. So this sentence right here is a good example of that tells us how the women feel. And it even says right here that her voice was angry. Doesn't say she felt angry, it just says her voice was angry. But from that, we can inference that they felt anger towards this woman, that they did not like her. Telling someone that they should die, clearly they don't want them around anymore. So that, to me, you can inference that they do not like this woman. So, again, the example that I gave you from the first page, the summer of 1642 in Boston, where did this chapter take place? That information is given to us. So that is an example of an explicit question. An example of an inferential question is, how do the women feel about Hester Prynne? And right here we can tell this woman should die. Her voice was angry. So we can inference that they did not like her. So this is the difference between explicit questions and inferential questions. Not all answers are going to be super simple to answer. You're going to have to read the information on the text in order to figure out certain answers to certain questions. So I believe that you can do it, and I hope that this video helps you.